What's going on, folks? So look, most of you know that I am a practicing physician, and so myself and thousands of my colleagues from across the country, as well as, of course, most importantly, our patients, are at the front lines of the decisions that are being made by our government when it comes to our overall healthcare. Today, the United States Senate is going to be voting on the Affordable Care Act and extensions, which will impact the cost for millions of families across the nation. And so today I'm going to be watching that vote. I'm going to tune into the debate that's taking place, and I'm going to break down for you the play-by-play. Ultimately, we'll see what the results of that vote are and what they mean for you and your family. So make sure to like the episode, subscribe to the channel, and as always, welcome to Age of Impact. All right, so let's check out the conversation that our United States senators are having as it relates to the Affordable Care Act. I'm just gonna pull out the most important parts or things that I think are important for us to highlight.
And as I was doing open enrollment, I was relieved to find out that my health insurance only went up by 12%. That's like good news. If you're 12%, you're thrilled. The average is double if you're on the exchange. The average is double. People can't do it. That is an intentional policy choice of the President of the United States.
Such an important point, right? Like, this isn't something that's happening by accident. This isn't some emergency that's taken place and now all of a sudden the healthcare in our country has to shift and people's premiums are forced to double. This is an intentional policy choice. We've had these Affordable Care Act subsidies in place for years now. They came in after the COVID pandemic and were found to really make health insurance even more affordable for people. And now this administration is choosing to remove those, just as people are talking now more than ever about affordability and ability to put food on the table and take care of themselves and their families. Important points being made by the senator out of Hawaii.
Democrats allowed 20 to 30 million illegals to come into this country.
You always know this point's gonna come up somehow, some way.
These illegals are now overrunning our emergency rooms, and you, the American taxpayer, are paying for it. Next time you go to the ER, see how long it takes you to get in, and then blame the Democrats. And the next time a hospital in your town closes, as has happened all over my state of Alabama, blame the Democrats.
So first off, this idea that undocumented immigrants are overrunning our emergency systems, aside from the fact of being highly discriminatory, is just not true. None of the issues that we are talking about in our United States healthcare system are because of some overrun from quote unquote illegals. This is just not a case. This is classic xenophobia, classic pitting one group of people against another group of people to distract from the fact that you and your buddies are out here getting rich off of the existing status quo. Secondly, this idea of blame the Democrats, blame the Democrats. Like, this partisan politics is the reason that we can't get things done in our country. This is what people are sick of. Constant partisan politics that doesn't actually do anything for the health and well-being of individuals, of families in our country. Blame the Democrats. Go right ahead. Go right ahead, Tommy Tuberville. That doesn't do anything.
Let me add one more thing.
What do you have to add, Bill Cassidy? Bill Cassidy cracks me up before he even says what he's going to say. Bill Cassidy is a doctor. He is an MD. He is somebody who tries to position himself when it comes to healthcare as this semi-moderate Republican who constantly votes in line with the things that Donald Trump has pushed forward, including RFK Jr., and then acts surprised when stuff blows up in our face, in the face of the American people, and in his face.
Senator Crapo spoke about the incredible amount of fraud associated with the current implementation of Obamacare.
So this has been a theme that I've noticed moving through this vote in the Senate. Repeatedly, folks have come up with fraud as being the predominant thing that they are worried about. My question is, how on earth is taking away of the Affordable Care Act enhanced subsidies for everybody going to address the fraud concern that they have? Like if you are worried about fraud in a percentage of people, the answer is not take away this thing from millions of people and throw 4+ million people into being uninsured. Like if somebody was committing credit card fraud, the answer is not, oh, let's take away credit cards from everybody. If somebody was committing mortgage fraud, the answer is not, let's shut down mortgages for everybody. These folks seem to be unable to govern with any form of scalpel. They have to use a machete in order to really address any kind of issue. If there's fraud, then present a bill that actually works to address specifically that fraud without taking away this resource from millions of people and driving up the healthcare cost for Americans from coast to coast.
I've never seen a party so committed to generating profits for insurance companies as what I'm seeing right now.
So that's not exactly true. So while these enhanced subsidies do go to the insurance companies, by law, they're required to lower the premium cost for the patients. And so they're not just going to line the pockets of the insurance companies, they are going to decrease the cost of everyday Americans. And please don't get me wrong in this. Like I'm not sitting here as some big defender of the United States existing healthcare system or some big believer that insurance companies are actually the good guys and that we don't require significant changes within our healthcare system. What I am saying is that a proposal that ends up with millions of Americans doubling and tripling their premium cost is a proposal that is not acceptable. Okay guys, I just wanted to take a quick second to pause and ask you to check to make sure that you're subscribed to our channel. We found that 88% of our viewers are not yet subscribed, and most of them don't even realize. And so it's totally free. It goes a really long way to helping us to continue to do this work. Thanks so much. Let's continue.
Susan from St. Paul told me that these massive increases are truly crippling her family budget. Dan from Red Wing, families like his don't know what they'll do. Some will take on second jobs if they can find them. Some will take on debt to keep their coverage. Others may be forced to drop coverage altogether.
I appreciate Senator Klobuchar for this. It's so important to understand that this isn't just some policy games. This isn't just politics. There are real people who are being impacted by these decisions that are being made. There are people who are not going to know how they are going to provide for their family. There are people who are going to get ill because of this. There are people who will die because of this. And it is just critical for us to move beyond just the politics, blame this group, blame that group. What's the actual impact for people across our country?
Obamacare is too expensive to afford. That is something that has been proven. But instead of dealing with root causes, they're saying, let's just extend the COVID-era subsidies for another 3 years.
She's not wrong that the Affordable Care Act is expensive. I'm just confused because what is the alternative plan that is being proposed? The decision made through the Democrats was to provide subsidies to help to make it more affordable. Their plan is what? They've been talking about some health savings account funding of a couple $1,000s for the year. This is not a serious plan to actually help make healthcare more affordable for people. And so they will complain all day about the Affordable Care Act. They won't do anything about it except make it more expensive for people. The other thing that's just like globally frustrating about all of this, and this goes beyond even these Affordable Care Act subsidies, this goes beyond any individual party, is all of this is such an indictment on our country's entire healthcare infrastructure. The idea that we can lose access to some enhanced credits and now our whole system is on the brink and that millions of people will get tossed out into the stresses of not knowing how they're going to pay for their health care. Like, please don't take anything that I am saying as some big defense of how our system is set up, because it is not. But I'm talking about the reality of where we are today and how we help people today. But the fact is that for people to be worried about going into medical debt just because of not being able to afford their health care, for people to be worried about becoming bankrupt, for people to be worried about how they're gonna pay their bills is a shame and a larger indictment on our entire healthcare system. Nonetheless, here's where we are today, and this decision to remove the Affordable Care Act subsidies will be absolutely disastrous for millions.
Let's see. On this vote, the ayes are 51, the nays are 48. 3/5 of the senators duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmative. The motion is not agreed to.
So the result of this vote is that the Affordable Care Act subsidies will not be extended, which means that as of January 1st, millions of Americans will be facing increased premiums that are, for some, doubling, tripling, and this will have a rippling impact for the health and well-being of millions, frankly. It is beyond shameful, and we have a real concern ahead with how people are going to be able to pay for their health care, and if folks will have to leave the insured population in totality. So the next step for this, unfortunately, is that we are pushing towards the end of the year here. There is a tiny opportunity for members of the House to do what's called a discharge petition and essentially force a vote in the House of Representatives on this issue and then send it back to the Senate again. But it is very minimal time as the Congress prepares to go into winter recess. It is most likely that this is a done deal. But in the meantime, please definitely call your members of the House, push them to file this discharge petition or to be part of the discharge petition that is being filed, and see what we can do to fight against this. But it seems like the best opportunity, frankly, is going to be in the midterm elections, pushing for people who are actually putting first and foremost the health and well-being of everyday Americans. Okay, my friends, that is our episode today. Thank you as always for watching Age of Impact. Please make sure to like the episode, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. What do these changes mean with the Affordable Care Act for you and your family? And what do you guys plan to do to navigate the changing healthcare landscape? We'll catch you next time on Age of Impact.